Reporting functionality in our system is facilitated through several channels. In particular, you will find that there are many pre-built dashboard elements which have various options for users to adjust and configure, and each one of them comes with an option to export. Now, in addition to that, we also have two tools, data mining tool and data analytics tool. I will focus on data analytics tool right now. Data analytics tool was created to allow users creating their own custom report. Navigating to this tool, you will notice that there is a special group called PCR Imported, which lists different reports that have been pre-built by PCR, and every school will always get a list of such reports. Let's take a look at some examples. By clicking open, we are loading the report live, so if there are any changes in the database, even if they occurred literally a second ago, the report will have updated information. This report lists all the donors in $1,000 to $5,000 donation range. You will notice that you have an option to show a different number of records. You can export this report, or you can modify it if you need additional information. For example, let's say that in addition to the city, state, and zip, we also want to capture the country. So we'll go back to the query, click on the data table, and select the desired fields. Furthermore, in addition to selecting extra fields, I can also apply various conditions. So for example, if I wanted to limit the result set to a particular country, I could specifically apply such condition. Now, once we are done with our modifications, we can run the report again and see if we have any results. Notice that I don't have donors that fit the criteria. So let's go ahead and remove the country restriction and see how this will change our results. So once again, we are back to the original set with the high school country specified as the last column, and we have 75 donors who match the criteria. On the Fields tab, you can see that the user is given choices in terms of data presentation, column aliasing, sorting, aggregation, and the display format. Once I'm done making my changes to the report, I can actually go ahead and save it, giving it a new name, and this way I can run this report anytime I want. I can share it with various members of the school, or I can keep it private. Going back to the list of other reports, I would like to run a few other examples. For example, we could take a look at campaign comparison summary. So this is a very popular presentation. What it does, it lists different campaigns by years. So we have current year, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, and so forth. So it's really interesting how you can use aggregate functions, in this case sum, to create such reports. Now, another cool thing that a lot of schools really like is the ability to have such reports on your dashboard. So once you create a report like this, you can place it on your dashboard, so you don't even have to go to data analytics tool, and the report will be automatically brought up whenever you go to the development dashboard. Now, this time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a brand new report. To do so, I went to Data Analytics tool and just clicked New. We will start with the donor table, identifying confirmation that we may be interested in. This time, I would like to Note that I only want to see donors who donated last year, but did not donate this year. Now we are going to go ahead and save this information and click on fields. Because donations last year and this year are actually numbers, I'm going to use a specific format for displaying this information. So once I click on results, I now see a list of all my donors who donated last year but did not donate this year. And I have 99 records who fit the selected criteria. Now, I could make this report a lot more intelligent. For example, instead of just specifying criteria for last year and this year, what I could do, I can specify that I'm only interested in specific type of donation. So let's go ahead and connect donors and their giving information, and I'm going to select a donation amount, for example. So this time, in addition to the totals, I'm also going to see individual gifts. So for example, Abby Delic, there were 2 donations, and I'm seeing both of them. Now, going back to the query, what I also want to do, I want to restrict these donations to a specific year. So in this case, I'm going to select fiscal year, and I want it to be current year. So now we have 20 records. Acme Company has 2 donations this year for $500 and for $50. Now let's find out what those donations were for. So I'm going to connect the donations table to campaign allocation. So we're gonna pick up the campaign allocation amount, and also I'm going to select campaign names, campaign type. Now running the query, we will now see that Acme Company donated $50 for open fund and $500 for endowment fund. Notice that each one of these gifts were allocated to one campaign, but theoretically you could have a gift, let's say $500, which would be allocated to multiple campaigns. That's why I selected amount to see if that was the case. So let's go back and we can uncheck this amount if we don't want to see that. And again, here we could also use various criteria. So for example, if you wanted to see sums for each donor as opposed to individual gifts breakdown, you can easily do so by aggregating the information. So that would be the amount, and we will change that to sum. Now, as we save this and go back to the results, we have sum. Now, the sum will be performed within each campaign. If you wanted to ignore the campaign, and if you wanted to perform the sum across all different campaigns, we can do that as well. So we will not be selecting campaign information, and in this case you will see that the system will aggregate the data a little bit differently. So there are really a lot of different features available to you to create any types of reports, to save them, to export them. You can even do a mail merge directly from the report.